Everything just seems a little too close right this second. Just a little too close. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Bobo. It's Monday as I'm doing this live for all of you guys, and hope you'll join me on this. Hope we're going to have a good connection. Everything's going to run smoothly. Maybe the chat will even pull up right here on the side. That would be nice if it did, but I am prepared just in case it does not. Folks, it's been a long holiday weekend, Memorial Day weekend. I hope you guys have had a great one. I felt strange today not working, being that it's Monday, and I guess a lot of my guys thought we were going to be working today as well because, well, a few of them were hitting me up this morning saying, hey, what are we doing? I'm like, yo, it's a holiday weekend. We'll be back tomorrow, but not for the Bobo. We'll be here tonight. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I got the chat working, so that's a sign that things are going to go kind of smoothly tonight. At least I hope so. I'm not going to lie. I've been doing the Bobo now for what? This is going to be like my second week returning with this. And it's still quite a bit of pins and needles and anxiety getting ready to go live in front of you guys and hoping that I'm able to perform in such a way that you guys enjoy it. So I've titled tonight's Bobo Show and Tell. And we'll get to that a little bit later on. We'll see how things progress. And we're probably going to get up into that. As I begin this here tonight, shout out to everybody taking the time to join me. I see a lot of people up in here. Mike, what's going on? Shout out to you on Joe Does Stuff. Shout out to you. Josh, what's going on with you? Simon, I see you right there. Engel, what's going on with you? Christian, it's quiet. I don't think it's quiet. I'm screaming into this microphone, and it shouldn't be quiet. Bethany, what's going on with you? I see you right there. James, what's going on with you? I'm looking like I just got off the golf course today, even though I don't do any golfing whatsoever. But I just got this new shirt, and I hate it already, just to let you know. All right. Hey, let's go ahead and get up into this thing. What do you say? First, I want to start with this. I think it was on the last Bobo that I did. That would be on Friday. I was talking about eating some peanuts. I almost said penis. I almost said that. That would have been a major blunder right there. On the Friday Bobo, I was talking about eating some spoiled, rotten peanuts. Make sure I say that correctly now. And how I got insanely sick from doing so and was vomiting and all of that. Anyways, you guys had left a lot of good suggestions about what that could have potentially been. And I want to thank you guys first and foremost for that. The consensus that I've come to, the realization that I've come to is I am never eating not another nut again. If it's some kind of a reaction from me not being able to process peanuts or any other time, man, I'm not going through that shit, man. I ain't going through that. Proud Country, what's going on with you? Shout out to you. Scott, what's going on with you? I see you there in New Jersey. Gugu says the audio is fine. Thank you for letting me know. Jersey, what's going on? Scarface Taco, I see some OGs up in here. Thanks for rocking with me. But yeah, again, thank you guys so much for all the health advice. Obviously when that was taking place, I had no idea what it was. I felt like I was going to die, not clickbait. And thank God that I didn't. And lesson learned, don't ever eat nothing out of an apartment where you have no idea who was living there. You can tell by the way the unit looks that they probably were living like some Vikings. And yet here you go rummaging through their food. It's not a good look, Joe. Not a good look. Shout out to Australia right there. It's tomorrow where you are. Sonny, what's going on? Which you love that you brought back the Bobo. Big Boss Man, what's going on? Holy Bobo. Anthony, Ramen Soups. Shout out to you. All right, moving on. I am feeling a hell of a lot better. The weekend was pretty good. I'm going to share with you guys some things that I hope go over relatively well. I've got a little bit of a story to share with you guys in relation to something that I did over the weekend. I'll get to that in just a moment. But there was something else that I wanted to go with first. Oh, so one thing that I'm doing with the Bobo is I'm recording the live streams. And reason being is because it's my hope to be able to take certain clips from the Bobo, turn those into either shorts for YouTube or actual videos. And that was exactly what I did with something yesterday where I took the section of the Bobo where I was talking about that update on Joker, and I just turned that whole section into a video. Now, when I did that, a part of me was thinking, one, nobody's going to watch this, right? Because anybody who's still watching After Prison Show is probably watching the Bobo. But then another part of me thought, well, wait a minute. There's probably a lot of people who don't care about the Bobo, who didn't know that I did this update about Joker. So let me just test the water, see if this works, and show as shit it did work. That video, performed relatively well in comparison to any other video that I've put out as of late, view-wise. And it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's good to be able to see a video that you're able to take from the Bobo, do well, but it also kind of sucks because, it is borderline drama-esque, right? And not really drama because that guy was a, scum of the earth individual with scum of the earth type charges as well. And I felt like, the world should know. I read comments that said, Joe, your safety is on the line here, putting this guy all the way out there. Whatever. The Freedom of Information Act, the Freedom of Information Act, this shit is public record. You know what I mean? If you do the crime, you got to do the time. And it didn't look like from any of the crimes that this guy was locked up for or accused of, didn't look like he did any time at all. So who's to know? But I felt like the world should. And that's why we did that. So anyways, moving on. Let me share with you guys a quick little story from over the weekend. God, I hope this lands. I don't really know how I'm going to go about it. Like, I don't have an end game for this story. Like, where am I going sharing this with y'all is, it's kind of, I don't know. But anyways, over this past weekend, my wife and I would go to a concert, a festival. It was the Patriotic Festival. It's a country concert. Sam Hunt was headlining it. Last year, they had Morgan Wallen headlining this thing. And last year, they actually shut down the entire city for Morgan Wallen to come in and do this. We didn't go last year. Tickets were unbelievably expensive. We went this year. Sam Hunt's one of my wife's favorite country artists. There was another guy there by the name of Jordan Davis. If you don't know who that guy is, he's got a lot of really good country songs. I didn't know until he actually started performing. It was a really good concert overall. They had it at an arena, the Scope Arena, basically. It's like where we go to watch hockey games at. And this venue probably only holds maybe not even 20,000 people. The thing wasn't even all that packed. But overall, it was a really good concert, a really good experience, and a couple of reasons why I bring this up. One, oh God, this shit is not going to land at all. So their beer selection there had me quite perplexed, to say the least. We're here at the Patriotic Festival. You got Sam Hunt, Jordan Davis, some other no-name people basically performing. And their beer selection consisted of 3 different types of beer. You had Michelob Ultra, Stella, and Bud Light. And folks, when we got in here, I see the first beer booth, right? And I'm like, oh shit. Because I drink Corona if I do drink. I don't drink all that often. If we go to a concert, yeah, I'm going to have me a couple of beers. I'm going to have a good time. I drink Corona. Like, that is my jam. And so when we get in here, it's Michelob Ultra, which I'll drink that too. If there's nothing else to drink, I'm drinking, I guess I'm drinking Michelob Ultra. But they've got Michelob Ultra, Stella, and Bud Light. And I see this and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. They've only got 3 beers there. And one of them is the most controversial beer on the planet right now. Like, you couldn't be caught dead drinking Bud Light. But yet here they are serving this at this patriotic festival, right? So I'm like, okay, there gotta be some other beer booths around here. So we walk around the entire arena and literally every beer booth had the same thing. Bud Light, Stella, Michelob Ultra. So it goes without saying that old Joe was drinking that Mickey Ultra all night because I wasn't going to be caught dead drinking that Bud Light. And matter of fact, I didn't really see anybody drinking the Bud Light. You know, you see all this in relation to the controversy with Bud Light, where they're giving you rebates if you go and buy a case of Bud Light. Bud Light stock is down like 20-something%. It's just, it's crazy. This marketing campaign that they did that backfired so badly. And, I'm nobody to, I try not to judge, right? But, if you've got a certain clientele that you are, that your beer drinkers are, it's probably a safe bet to say what they did with this marketing campaign with the individual in question with the marketing campaign was a suicide mission, basically. Like, probably the worst decision you can make in the history of marketing. Just calling it for what it is. So I was wondering to myself, like, why they were selling Bud Light, because nobody was drinking Bud Light. You can't even give this shit away, basically. And, like, nobody wants to be seen drinking Bud Light because of all the controversy with it. And look, at country concerts, these dudes who are performing on stage, they're drinking, right? They're like, hey, let's have a good time. Weren't nobody up there drinking no Bud Light. So it just really made me wonder, like, why in the fuck were they selling this there? But maybe that was something that they decided to do long before the controversy and all of that shit. But anyways, neither here nor there. I just wanted to share that little story with you guys. All those beers are the same company, LOL. Yeah, but Bud Light they on an island right now. You know what I mean? Like, you could drink a Budweiser or like a Budweiser Platinum or some shit, but you can't drink a Bud Light. It's taboo right now, is what it kind of feels like. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Like I said, I don't really care either way, but it was just crazy to see that. So anyways, while we were at the concert, this concert was at a place where we watch hockey games at. And every time we would go to the hockey games, because we would go to those quite frequently, I would see people who knew me from After Prison Show, right? Like maybe one or two people every time we would go to a hockey game. And that was always really cool. We were at the concert. There was one person who was like, yo, I watch your videos. And if you're watching this Bobo right now, or if you're anybody who I ran into at a hockey game watching this Bobo right now, a very special shout out to you. It's super awesome running into people who know me from After Prison Show and getting a chance to interact with people. That's a really cool thing. But we ran into this couple while we were at the concert. And I'm trying to remember how this all came about. We just started talking for whatever reason. And this guy, and Reggie Barnett Jr. actually came up. They were like, yeah, oh, that's what it was. They were like, yeah, the last time we were here, we were watching the bare knuckle fight where Reggie Barnett Jr., my friend from prison, who's actually got like a featherweight belt in that bare knuckle boxing, he fought there. I didn't get a chance to go to that, but they did. They said it was a really awesome thing. So we get to talking about Reggie, and I was like, yeah, I've actually done videos with Reggie. I was pulling up this video from Prison the Pay-Per-View. I was showing them that. But here's, I guess, where this gets more interesting at. It was a man and a woman, like, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever they were, me and my wife. So we're sitting there talking. We're talking about Reggie, and then the woman was like, yo, do you know Corey? And I said, yeah, of course I know Corey. I was locked up with Corey. I knew Corey. And, that kind of like was in passing that this guy Corey's name was brought up. But I want to share this story with you guys real quick, because I don't know that I've ever mentioned this before on After Prison Show, or maybe I did. I can't remember. But back when I was at Indian Creek, this UFC shit was pretty popular. There were a lot of guys who were doing it. Reggie was doing it. Another guy named Vaughn was doing it. Another guy named Vaughn was doing it. And then there was a guy named Corey, and there were a bunch of people. A guy named Frog. A lot of people were into this. My homeboy, mural painter Anderson, he was into this. He tried to get me into this, and we would spar a little bit, but, I wasn't really getting into it because, I wasn't trying to be getting punched in the face all the damn time for fun, basically. But I would mess with it just a little bit, nowhere near the level that these other guys would do it, including Reggie, including Vaughn, who are two guys who are really doing it these days. Reggie, of course, with the bare knuckle boxing. Vaughn is out in California doing some sort of, UFC style circuit. I don't know exactly what he's doing with it, but I see him on Instagram from time to time. He seems to be doing really well with what he's doing. And then there was this guy named Corey. And Corey was just as involved in this stuff as everybody else was who was involved in this. But we come home from prison, and I'll never forget how I heard the story about Corey, and it was actually from my probation officer. And so anyways, Corey was a really good dude. All of these guys were really good dudes. And my probation officer knew I was doing YouTube. And, he would always ask me if I knew these people. Hey, Reggie Barnett. Hey, do you know Corey? And I was like, yeah, of course I know. He was like, well, did you hear what happened to Corey? And I was like, no, I didn't. And he would tell me that this guy Corey actually got murdered out after prison. And this is the craziest, one of the craziest stories that I had ever heard of a guy who was such a good guy who came home and got killed behind some absolute senseless bullshit. Corey was doing everything that he needed to do to get his life back on track. And had he not been killed, I truly feel like he would be a successful member of society even, today. So far separated from that time when we were in prison back in 2015 and earlier. Anyways, Corey had a domestic situation take place. I didn't know the ins and outs of it. And when I'm hearing about it at this patriotic festival with this Bud Light, and this woman's telling me about it because she told me, she was like, yeah, I'm Corey's baby mama. And I'm like, oh, shit. I don't want to ask any more questions because I heard domestic dispute. There's this dude who's sitting here right here. I'm like, I don't know if this domestic situation involved, her and him. But the woman at the concert, the baby mama, would actually tell me, she says, no, it didn't have nothing to do with me. Matter of fact, it had nothing to do with anybody that we even knew. So basically, Corey oversaw a domestic situation taking place where this guy was beating this girl up. And he tried to intervene in that situation. And, a lot of times they'll say, hey, don't get involved in somebody else's domestic situation. Don't try to be a hero. And I'm not trying to say that in light of what happened to this guy, Corey, but Corey did try to intervene in this situation. And the guy shot Corey 5 times and killed him. Shot him through both of his hands. Corey had his hands up, got shot through both of his hands, and then hit him 3 more times in his body, killed him. All because Corey saw this woman getting beaten up and tried to intervene and do the right thing. Corey got killed. His life got taken, far too soon. And, what a tragic, senseless situation that was. Well, it would be meeting this couple at this concert where I would learn that the dude that shot Corey, he ain't get but 5 years in prison. And supposedly, the guy who was there, the boyfriend of the baby mama, who knew Corey, they actually talked when Corey came home, and, they had a cordial, situation. The two of them did, the two guys did, Corey and the new boyfriend. The new boyfriend actually went to the sentencing or the trial for the guy that killed Corey. And he was telling me about this. He was like, when this guy got up there and explained his side of the story, he was saying, he knew, oh man, this dude's about to get off. Probably saying something like, hey, I was in fear for my life. Here's this trained UFC fighter. I don't even know that he knew that about Corey. Or maybe Corey went over there and just started whooping his ass. And maybe dude did say, okay, it was a fight or flight self-defense. Hey, I thought this dude was going to kill me, whatever. Anyways, dude shot Corey 5 times, killed him, and he ain't get but 5 years. He got a year for every bullet that struck Corey, which is absolutely horrible. Like, how you get off on some shit like that? How you shoot a guy 5 times and you only get 5 years no matter what? Especially this day and age. But that's allegedly what happened. And crazy shit, man. Crazy shit. So Corey was a really good dude. Let me see if I can pull up Corey. I'm sitting here telling y'all about this. Let me see if I can pull up old Corey Hunter. What a stellar dude he was. I think they got a Facebook page that's actually, they got a Facebook page like in memory of this guy. He was a good dude. He had a lot of respect. Yep, this is him right here. So let me pull him up. And I'm going to go like this. Boom. All right, so Corey Hunter, that was him right there. And like all of these posts are from September of 2015. You got Reggie Barnett liking that. All of this is from 7 years ago. And I don't know that this is not the post this is not the page that is dedicated to him. But 757 Boxing is actually Reggie's gym. Yeah, there's Reggie right there. Where's Corey at? Yeah, there's Corey right there. So Corey was a part of Reggie's gym, and just sad that this guy lost his life. Oh shit, that's another guy that we were locked up with. I think he's locked up now though. I can't remember his name. I think I even did a video on that dude. Damn, what the hell was his name? Can't remember it to save my life. Anyways, man, R.I.P. to Corey. Corey was a great guy. And unfortunate that his life was taken, so soon. He really was on track to do some really great things. He was working with Reggie's gym, as I can remember. And if I can remember correctly, I think he was doing a lot more of the promotional side of things, like really getting these fights orchestrated. And they were doing a lot of just small events back before Reggie blew up with all of this. And yeah, so there's that. Ty said, or Trigg says, you're going back to prison. Who are you talking to? Me? I surely hope not. All right, what else we got going on, man? I wanted to share that story with you guys. I thought that was super interesting. That I ran into those folks who knew Corey. And like I said, RIP to a good guy, man, who lost his life far too soon. Smith says, Balak, or somebody, I can't pronounce the name, says, what's up with Danny? Man, I wish I knew. I wish I knew, and I wish I could bring you guys an update on him. It was interesting today, as a matter of fact. I was going through some comments. I saw a comment from Danny's Life After 40 Years in Prison Part 3, and somebody had actually left a comment, and it said something like, such an inspiring story. I hope he does well. And it made me think like they were just seeing this video for the very first time. Had no idea how that whole situation ended. Where's that comment at? I don't get a lot of comments these days. Actually, I got a bunch of comments. Oh, yeah, this was it right here. It said, amazing interview. I hope he's successful. No matter how it ended between Danny and I truly hope that he's doing well out there. I haven't heard from him in, obviously a very long time, and I wish I could bring an update to you guys. I wish we could reconnect in a way that, it could be a good thing. But sadly, I don't think that that's ever going to happen, for whatever reason. And Jasper says, still mad at Danny, and I'm not. At this point, it's water under the bridge. At this point, I recognize that I probably should have done more, and, here I go, playing the taking blame for shit that was far beyond my control. The Danny situation just got so far out of control so fast between Hollywood reaching out, Anthony Sabato Jr. wanting to play Danny in a freaking movie that they didn't even have a script for. These guys from Hollywood were calling me with no idea what they wanted to do. And I know I just let the cat out of the bag with who the actor was, but, you know, a lot of people had already guessed that it was Anthony Sabato Jr. We were having like three-way calls with this producer, with him, with Danny. And you got to imagine, for a guy who's never had nothing, you know, no disrespect to Danny, but that was what he was. He was a guy who had never had nothing. And now you've got Hollywood calling, wanting to make a movie about you, but nobody wants to finance this movie because, you know, Anthony Sabato Jr. was a huge Trump supporter. He was blacklisted in Hollywood because of that. Hollywood is very liberal. So anybody who is, you know, far right, right-wing, conservative, man, and then loud and proud about that shit, I guess that shit just don't fly. I would learn. I had no idea prior. I didn't even know that dude swung like that. And it didn't matter to me. You know, I don't give a damn what your politics are, but obviously Hollywood did care. You know, I wish things would have ended better between us, but unfortunately, obviously, they did not. There was not enough that I could do. And I'm going to tell you this. This is where shit really got fucked up between Danny and I. And I hate to say this, but this is the God's honest truth. I'll never forget, we put together an Instagram for Danny. That was the first mistake that I made. Because at first, Danny was, you know, being shared on the After Prison Show Instagram, which, you know, I don't even use at all. But I put together an Instagram for Danny. Then I teach Danny how to use Instagram. That was the second mistake that I made. The third mistake would be beyond my control. And that would be because Danny was so popular. I mean, people were running up to Danny in public trying to hug him. He's the type of dude, you know, if you're running up on him, he's ready to, you know, take it to a different level because he's just not used to that. Super paranoid behind people looking at him, you know, in public. Now everybody knows you. So this was really, you know, conflicting for him. But again, the Instagram was the first mistake that I made. Teaching him how to use the Instagram was the second mistake that I made. And the third mistake beyond my control would be all these nudes he was getting from women from all over the world. Women were sending him nudes and sending him DMs and sliding into the DMs and, you know, wanting to rescue Danny and be there for Danny. And, you know, this dude was a celebrity. This dude was legitimately the biggest thing that I ever introduced on After Prison Show. The biggest person. You know, the biggest story. The biggest fanfare that came from this. 2 different GoFundMes. People were, you know, donating left and right to try to save this man's life, to change this man's life, to send him back to Boston for the first time in 40 years. It was the Instagram which would ultimately be the ultimate demise of Danny and I. Because from them DMs would come a girlfriend. And a girlfriend that I knew nothing of. I never met her. But who I would hear from other people who did meet her. That, you know, she was very convincing to Danny. And she bitched a lot about me to Danny. Saying that Joe owes you more money. Joe needs to be paying you way more money. You got to understand something. Back during this time, Danny was getting a salary, right? He was getting like $400 a week, which may not sound like a lot, but he was getting $400 a week, whether or not we were even doing videos. Then he was getting, on top of that, I was paying his rent, making $400 a week on top of that. It may not sound like a lot, but that shit adds up over a while. And, you know, here's this woman who knows nothing of anything that we had been doing, not to mention all the GoFundMe money, you know, that was shoveled right into his pockets. She was just this bug in his ear, you know, basically driving a wedge between him and I. So, yeah, the Hollywood deal fell apart, and that, you know, may have been a small part of the issue, him thinking that I somehow sabotaged this movie deal. But the bigger issue was there was a fifth wheel. There was a third party, a fifth wheel, this woman, whoever she was, trying to convince Danny that I need to be paying him even more money. And that ultimately was the the real demise right there. And you know, when we made the video saying that Danny wanted to take a break from doing videos, it was because of the girlfriend, because he was going to move to another state with her and, you know, start over with her. And ultimately, when he moves to another state with her, the whole shit is done. There's nothing else we can do because he's not around. And I don't know anything about how it all transpired from there. And there's that. Air Bear, what's going on? What's your shout out to you? Jody Pedoty? What? I don't know what you mean with that, man, but shout out to you. All right, man, what else am I doing on this Bobo? Folks, I'm going to do something that I have no idea how this is going to turn out. And actually, before I get to that, let me say this. It was the Joker update that's really got the ball rolling and, you know, the wheels spinning for updates, right? I would love to bring you an update on other people. I don't know necessarily that that's a good thing to do. I don't know if that's tearing a Band-Aid off, you know, putting salt in a wound. I don't necessarily know. But I would like to be able to bring you guys updates when I can. And I will work toward seeing if that's a possibility. But let's go ahead and move on. Oh, Brody says, Joe, you have to bring back the random video chat prison visits. I'm glad that you mentioned that real quick. I'll hit on that. I'm there. You know, let me just oh shit. Let me just let me see what I can do. Okay, yeah, I'm there, okay? I'm there. So, bing. I'm already in, okay? When it comes to the prison, the random stranger prison visits, I've created a bogus account. I'm in. I've infiltrated and hacked the website to a certain degree. They banned me before. I had another account, and I just created another account, and I've already started trying to find people. So if we go to, like, visit, let me show you how I do this real quick. Let me just show you how I was making this shit happen. Come on, you slow internet. Gosh almighty, man, this joint be slow. All right, so I've already added a couple of contacts. I don't know who these people are. I saw Shiflet. I said, oh, shit, maybe you know Shiflet. And then another female right here. The only reason I've got females up here, I don't know these people at all. I haven't contacted these people at all. I've just added them as contacts. They probably saw that some random Joe Rogan account has added them. How do I do it? I want to go to, this is not how I did it. But anyways, what I would do is I would just go. So here's all the places we could go. We could go to the women's DOC right here, right? So we're at the women's DOC, and then I'll just put in A because I don't know anybody's name, and I'll hit search, and then bung, all these people pop up right here with an A in their name. And I'll just be like, okay, Rosalina, here we go. I'm not going to be able to do it because I don't have any money on my account. Okay, so if I did, let me just see if I can. Oh my God, I could do it. But I don't have any money on my account. Online video visit. I want to do it right now. Now. I want to do it this evening. Right now. I want to do 15 minutes. Oh, there's no time slots available. What about Wednesday? Can I do Wednesday? Can I do evening? 15 minutes. There's no time slots available. Damn it. Visits can be scheduled up to 14 days in advance. Maybe they don't have visits in the evening. Let's try morning. Afternoon? Nothing. Well, anyways, folks, I'm in. And when I tell you that I'm going to be bringing this shit back, it's coming back like cooked crack, I try to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. Whose YouTube is canceled? His YouTube is also canceled? Who's that? Jersey, shout out to you for telling people to hit that like button. That would be nice. Bigfoot says, Joe, why are you trying to use this as Bumble? Man, I'm not, though. But let's be honest here. Let's just call the kettle black, right? When I did those random stranger visits, people weren't trying to see me visiting no dudes. They wanted to see them girls gone wild video VIs. And those were the videos that really did it. So, of course, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get the females up there to talk about what's going on with the hot dog trays up in the prison. Are they slicing the hot dogs up, or y'all getting the real deal, full hot dogs? Anyways, all right. I guess I'm getting ready to get up into this. Oh, but anyways, before I do, this is the second time that I've taken a detour. What was I going to say? I don't know necessarily how it's going to work, me trying to do the video visits while I'm live streaming. We're going to try it. I'm going to push the envelope as hard as I can. You got to sign all these consents like you will not do this, you will not. Man, fuck it. I'm Joe Rogan on here. Like I got an alias. Catch me if you can, like the gingerbread man. But they have made some subtle changes to all of this. And I wonder if I'm the cause of that. I think back to my penitentiary days when I was selling the little 4x6 photos, and I ruined that for the entire prison population. They shut that shit down as soon as I got busted for doing the counterfeit photos straight from the house. No other prisoners were able to order any photos from any legitimate sources. I screwed that up for everybody. I'm wondering if I screwed up this video visit thing and they've made some changes, because it was so hard in the past to be able to get this website to recognize my camera, my webcam, because I had my camera running into the computer being recorded somewhere else. So, anyways, long story short, we're going to try. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Julie, second account says, be careful. Yeah, you better know it. Counterfeit photos, Thomas says. Oh, you ain't ever heard that story? Well, we'll save that for another time. All right, folks. Hey, Jake, what's going on with you? What you talking about, Banky? What's going on with Banky? I hope he's doing well. I've titled this Bobo Show and Tell. Show and Tell. What I have here, and let me make sure I don't show the wrong page of this. Folks, what I hold here in my hand is paper. Not just any paper whatsoever, but actual very important paper that I want to do a reaction to. We'll leave that right there on the table just for a moment. And we'll leave it right here. That way you can see it. I want to do some show and tell. I mentioned this way back in the day, maybe during my second return to After Prison Show, of doing a reaction video to this paper right here. And I wonder if you can guess what you think this paper is. And I don't know that I'll wait for you to guess. But anyways, as you may know, I'm trying to become a Class A contractor. It's one of the hardest things that you can do in life. It's very hard to do. I had to take an 8-hour class. That was easy. I had to take a business exam, 3 parts to it. That was pretty tough. I passed all 3 parts to that. And then I was able to submit my information, my application to become a Class A contractor. Now, a Class A contractor is a contractor who can do unlimited money per year. A Class B can do up to $150,000 a year. A Class C can do $75,000 a year. A Class A can do unlimited. Anybody who is a contractor and they about their salt, they are a Class A contractor. You don't want to be anything else, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go out there and build houses from the ground up. I know a tub glazing company where the owner of that company is a Class A contractor. It's just stripes on the arm, so to speak. It looks good. When you're going to prospective customers, and I paint and do drywall repairs, for God's sakes, maybe minimal woodwork. When I can go to a customer and say, oh, and by the way, I'm also a Class A contractor. That shit just, one, it just shows that you are that much more professional. I'm a fully licensed and insured business, but I'm not a Class A contractor yet. And, let me say this as well. I'm also not out here doing anything that would require me to be a Class A contractor at the moment. And when I become a Class A contractor, if and when that's ever possible, I'm going to be a home improvement contractor, which means I can do anything inside of a house except put an addition on a house. I could build a deck. I could build a shed. I can do anything inside the house, knock down walls and make your kitchen larger or your bathroom bigger, whatever. But I can't put an addition on a house being a home improvement contractor. That's what I want to be. Or even better yet, hey, Francis, what's going on? Shout out to you becoming a member. Even better yet, I would like to be a commercial contractor, which is actually the most impossible contractor to become. But a Class A contractor, you can do a lot more. You can do a lot more things. People take you a hell of a lot more serious being that. So anyways, I did the 8-hour exam. I did the 8-hour test. I did the 3-part business exam. And now I'm able to submit my application, which I've still yet to do. And it's a 4-part application. The first part is just the application. Who are you? What you're applying for? Yada, yada. The second part is the financial aspect of it. You have to have a net worth of $45,000 to be a Class A contractor. Now, the easiest way to showcase a $45,000 net worth is through a security bond, right? You're bonded and insured. That's, what that means. You've got an insurance bond for $45,000. And what that insurance bond guarantees is if anything happens at a resident's home, you've got a $45,000 check basically that will cover at least $45,000 if something were to go wrong. You're bonded. And that I'm seeing is pretty hard to get. I'm still in the process of trying to do this financial shit to get this security bond. So anyways, the first thing is the application. The second thing is the financial aspect of it. The third thing is the experience verification form. And basically all they care about, they just want you to write in there what you've got experience with, how long you've been doing it. Easy enough. But then you also need a Class A contractor who is going to vouch for you. And for the longest time, I didn't have that. Well, now all of a sudden I do have that. So that's another thing that I can tick off of this list of impossible shit of becoming a Class A contractor. So I've got a Class A contractor. He's already filled this form out for me, right? He's vouched for me. We're good to go. But because of who I am, old Joe from AfterPrisonShow, there's also a fourth part to this whole application process. And that, folks, is the criminal history. Now, if you've got any type of a criminal history, you have to divulge that information to DPOR, the Department of whatever DPOR stands for, DPOR. Anyways, you got to divulge that to DPOR. And it's not like, have you been convicted of a felony in the last 5 years or 7 years or 10 years? It's your entire life shit. You have to divulge everything to them, and you can't cut no corners. And the way that you have to divulge everything to them is you have to get this right here, folks. What I hold in my hands is from the Virginia Criminal History Records Name Search Request. Freedom of Information Act, you could probably pull this up on me if you wanted to, but this comes from the Virginia State Police. What I'm holding in my hands, folks, is my entire criminal history, which I got to tell you is quite a few pages long. And what we're getting ready to do is go through that page by page, charge by charge. I'm going to share with you a little show and tell here on this Bobo, my entire criminal history. Now, what I challenge each and every one of you to do is to go to your favorite prison YouTuber and ask them to do the same damn thing. right? They may have some shit up there that they're not too proud to share. And I'm not going to lie, I've got some on here as well. Nothing bad. I mean, well, no bad type of shit at least. But I've definitely got some shit up here that has me thinking like, oh my God, I've got to send this to DPOR. And they're going to read this. And there ain't no way in hell they about to let me be no contractor. Not with the way that this shit reads. This shit reads like a book. And I'm getting ready to share it with you. Name another prison YouTuber willing to do the same. Not only does this information tell you every charge that old Joe had ever been charged with in his entire adult life, it also has my prison history in it as well. Folks, we're getting ready to dive head first up into my entire criminal history right now. Now, first, we're going to skip the first page entirely with social security numbers and all of that good shit on it. I'll try to read to you. It just has all of my information on it. It says reason for requesting this, DPOR licensing. This actually had to be notarized as well. So, gosh almighty. When I send this to DPOR too, and I'm getting ready to read it, but when I send this to DPOR, they're going to request that I come and I stand in front of the board, and they're going to go over this thing with me. Now, my buddy Connor has been in front of DPOR to get a license himself. A licensed tattoo artist is what he was. And he told me that he had to do the same exact thing. He had to send in his criminal history from state police. And he said they didn't give a damn about anything that he had done since then, being released from probation, rights restored, you're an upstanding member of society now. They don't give a damn about none of that. What they care about is the things that are listed on this. Let's go ahead and begin. On January the 4th, 2001, felony charge, grand larceny, Chesapeake, Virginia. I'll never forget the day. This was the first time I'd ever been locked up in my life. January the 4th, 2001. I had just turned 18 in November of 2000. It weren't 2 months later, old Joe was getting locked up for his very first felony charge. And then it says guilty, felony, grand larceny. I was sentenced to 3 years with 2 years and 11 months suspended. And I had to serve 15 days. Next charge, failure to appear. Now, this is in no good order. I got to tell you that, okay? Because the first charge, I told you the deposition of that charge, or, the outcome of that charge. There's other charges that were related to that very first charge, such as this failure to appear that I caught on 5/3/2001. I got locked up for the very first time in January. It was on 5/3/2001. I was catching a failure to appear because I didn't want to go to court. You know what the plea bargain they came at me with was, hey, just go ahead and plead guilty. We're going to drop this down to a misdemeanor, but we need you to testify against your co-defendant. Old Joe was young little whippersnapper back then, do-rag tied super tight. You weren't about to have me testify on my co-defendant. That was my best friend at the time. So I bucked on court, caught me that failure to appear. Yeah, I did. So I got the failure to appear right there. We go to the next page. Oh, I was found guilty of, wait a minute. Yeah, guilty of that. Then on 5/3/2001, another failure to appear. Then on, and they gave me 15 days for that. They found me guilty of contempt of court, right? I don't know why they changed the charge from failure to appear to contempt of court, but I've actually got quite a few contempt of courts. We got 5/8/2001, just 5 days later from that failure to appear. I got another contempt of court. Then on 8/28/2001, you know what I think that this was? I think that I had bucked on court They gave me that failure to appear on 5/3, and then 5/8. They also gave me another charge. And then it was on 8/28/2001. They found me guilty. I'm guessing that was after I had went on the run. They caught me. They beat the shit out of me when they caught me. I only got 15 days for that, though, which is pretty ironic. We go to 7/18/2001. My dumbass catches another grand larceny in another city with the same co-defendant. Yeah, I did. And this one, you know, I should share the stories with this, but I'm running out of time. I want to get through this entire criminal history. So I bucked on court for this one as well. And when I went to court, they gave me another failure to appear and all of that good stuff and a contempt of court. When I went to court, it was 9/14/2001 is when they found me guilty. And they told me to take a plea bargain. I didn't have to testify on my co-defendant. I got a plea bargain, and it was a petty larceny. And I don't know, I can't really remember a lot about that. They gave me 12 months with 11 months suspended, and I had to serve 20 days. It says that I had a court-appointed lawyer. I had unsupervised probation and restitution imposed. If I can remember that one correctly, they didn't have a lot of evidence on us in that case. It was like somebody said that we did something, we stole a guitar or something like that. In the first grand larceny, they had us dead to rights. They caught us breaking into unlocked cars. So that's where that came from. Fast forward to 7/30/2002. I got another contempt of court. I was found guilty. This was also during a probation violation. So it says revocation of suspended sentence and probation. And I only had to serve 10 days for that. See, back during this time, Joe wasn't really getting the full effect. You're only giving me 10 days and all this probation and all this time over my head that was getting suspended. But see, back during this time, it wasn't really ringing a bell. Like, I was like, oh shit, I can just keep doing this dumb shit and it's going to be all right. They ain't doing nothing to me. But fast forward to 10/22/2002. And folks, this is the charge right here that I ain't too proud of. And this is the one that really looks bad. I got a robbery charge. And I will never forget when my lawyer came to see me, he said, robbery? He said, you know that should carry a minimum of 5 years, upwards of 20. The crazy thing about this charge was, I ain't even robbed nothing. I didn't do it, so to speak. I've shared this story before, and I ain't too proud to share this, but when I go in front of DPOR and they ask me, tell me about this robbery charge that you got where you were found guilty and they reduced it to petty larceny. Where'd they do that at? And I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm going to say, sir, ma'am, I didn't rob nobody. See, back during this time, I was smoking crack. I was. And I was smoking crack with a guy, and I ran off with the money. I was so bad off on the drugs. This was the worst that I had ever been on the drugs. I was on this crack bender way back when I was 18 years old. I was smoking crack with this old head, and I was like, yo, I can go get some more. And I ran out the back door. Don't act like you ain't done it. And this dude called the police and said that I beat him up and I robbed him. Do I look like the type of guy to do some shit like that? And that's what I'm going to tell DPOR when they ask me about this. So I had a robbery charge that got reduced to petty larceny. There was also a probation violation that was a part of that as well. I had 2 years, 11 months, 15 days imposed or something. I think this was the first time that I went to prison, if I can remember correctly. So there was a probation violation that came from that as well. And then there was an assault and battery, which again goes with that robbery charge, where this guy said that I beat him up. I beat him up and I robbed him. And this is the craziest thing about this. There's a couple of charges on here, like that one and one other one, where I didn't even do it, and I still wore it. So when you hear these things where people are making fun of people saying I ain't do nothing, I didn't do nothing, I didn't do it. In some cases, they may be right. They may be telling the truth. Had an assault and battery. They gave me 6 months for that. And for the petty larceny, they gave me 6 months for that as well, and they ran that concurrent. Moving on. I've got a domestic charge right here. Profane, threatening language over public airways. There was a girl that, a toxic relationship that I had way back in my past where, she said that I threatened to probably do harm to her over the phone. You ever have a phone call with somebody that you really can't stand? It'd be an ex or a toxic relationship, and you're just saying some shit, and then they get you arrested for that, right? But see, this wasn't just that. This was only part of a deeper story. So it says, waived attorney. I actually represented myself in this matter, and then they found me guilty. I didn't even beat it. They found me guilty. And I got 30 days for that. That's what I had to charge for that. So I'm not too proud of that one right there. But here goes another one that I definitely didn't do. This is an assault and battery on a family member, and it's in relation to this toxic relationship that I had. I've told this story before on After Prison Show. There was a time when I got to tell this story fast. So I was in a car one night with a toxic relationship looming. I was in a car with another female, and I pulled up to a stoplight. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I was at a party. We pull up to a stoplight, and no bullshit, we're pulling up to the stoplight, and there goes that toxic person in the car right next to us. I look over, I see them. I say, hey, ain't no hard feelings. And mind you, we probably already had that phone call of, me, whatever they said, that I made profane, threatening language over the phone. I said, hey, look, ain't no hard feelings, right? They looked over, they saw me, they saw I was with another female, and a high-speed chase ensued. They already had me on the run for this dumbass making threatening phone call bullshit. So I'm running because they're on the phone with the police. I just know that they are trying to get me arrested. So we get in a high-speed chase for 2 different cities. And as we're going down this long, dark road, this is how I know that they were on the phone with the police, because all of a sudden I see the first cop car go flying by us, and I look back, and I can see the cop hitting the brake lights, and I'm telling the girl to pull over. I'm like, pull over. I'm tightening my belt up. I'm like, yo, I got to get out the car. Pull over. That cop is coming for us. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Yo, he's slamming on the brakes. Here goes the next cop car flying by us. Boom. He's slamming on the brakes. He's already got the reverse lights on. I'm like, yo, pull the car over. I got to go. I jump out of the moving car. We're probably going about 15 miles an hour. I jump out, I land on my feet, and I go running. Wait a minute. I forgot there was one other really important part to this. Somewhere before I jumped out of the car, I was driving this girl's car at first. So I have to get out. I don't want to drive her car. I stop. And when I stop, I have her drive the car, but as I'm having her drive the car, the girl who was driving the other car hit me. She hit me with the car, boom. I go rolling over the hood of the car. She stops the damn car. I grab the door open because I'm not dead. I grab the door open. I snatch the cell phone out of her hand and I smash that shit, and the high-speed chase still ensues. I've been hit by a car, and then I get out the car moving and get and run, and the police are chasing me. I end up getting away that night. But when I got away, the police surround the girl who I was with, and the other girl is there as well. Do you know that girl told the police that I hit her? I hit you when you hit me with your car. I wrote a letter to my lawyer, my public defender who was representing me in this matter, and I told them this entire story. They would come back to me and they would tell me, they would say, I'm not your mother, but you don't need to be with this girl. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I've been trying to get away from her for years. So that assault on a family member, that's how I caught that charge, right? And I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. And I was found guilty of that. Of course I was, because they weren't going to believe me. And there was no time that came from that. And it says that I was found guilty, but I remember that I got like a deferred sentence for that. But the deferred sentence was if you stay out of trouble for a year, the charge goes away. I didn't stay out of trouble for a year, and that's probably why I got that guilty. Okay, then we fast forward to 7/01/2006. I caught my very first, I didn't even remember this charge. I caught my very first possession with intent to distribute charge in Virginia Beach. I was sentenced to 3 years for that charge, and they suspended all of it. I had a public defender, and I wasn't even selling real drugs. I was selling fake mushrooms. No bullshit. I got caught doing that shit, and they gave me a real drug charge. Go out there and try to sell fake drugs if you want to. You're going to catch a real drug charge. So I had my very first possession with intent to distribute back in 2006, before I ended up going to prison for the bunch of charges that I had upcoming, which is right here. 2010, this is actually when I got found guilty of these charges. Possession of a concealed weapon, guilty. 12 months is all they gave me for that, ironically enough. Is all they gave me for that. I was selling the Portobellos, you better bet it. Then I got felony firearm charge while in possession of a Schedule 1 or Schedule 2 drug. They gave me 5 years for that. Court-appointed lawyer. Felony firearm possession by a nonviolent with nonviolent offense. Oh, possession by a felon while or with a nonviolent offense. So I got 5 years for that, and they suspended 3 years of that. In Virginia, if you're a felon and you get caught with a firearm, it's 5 years. However, if you get caught with a firearm and it's a nonviolent and you're not using it in the commission of a violent offense, you can get some of that time suspended. They sentenced me to 5 years. They suspended 3 years of that. Possession with intent to distribute the cocaine. This is all the shit that sent me to prison for 7.5 years. Found guilty of that. They sentenced me to 8 years. They suspended all 8 years of that. And then the big charge, which was possession with intent to distribute. They found me guilty of that, and they sentenced me to 7 years and 6 months in prison. And then it's got so that's my entire criminal history right there, right? It's, how many pages is it? Like 7 pages of charges. Then it talks about me going to prison. 2007, I went to receiving for the very first time. And that's all it says. It says new prisoner received. And then in 2011, new prisoner received. So it tells me all the times that I went to prison. I went to prison in 2007. I only did like 6 months in prison that time, because I'd already been locked up for like a year and only had a year and a half to serve. And then in 2011, that's when I got to prison for the 7 years and 6 months. And it says that I went in 2011, Mecklenburg. I got there on 1/13/2011. And then they moved me on 3/1/2011. I was at Mecklenburg for 2 months, or maybe 3 months, 2.5 months. It says I went to Halifax. I stayed there from 3 to 11. So I stayed there for, 8 months? I went to Haynesville from there. And then, man, it's got everything after. In 2013, I went to Indian Creek. In 2015, I was released on probation. And then it just shows my entire probation history right there. And folks, that there is what I got to get ready to send to get my Class A contractor's license. Oh, my God. Felon with a concealed weapon, 10 months. It was 12 months. But that's not how they worded that charge. They worded that charge. Yeah, they didn't word it like that. They just said concealed weapons carried 12 months. They didn't say nothing about the felony. I mean, yeah, me being a felon. But yeah, man, It's all here in black and white. And my God, what do you think? What do you think that DPOR board's gonna say? And I'm gonna be honest. Hey, look, I was smoking crack when I got the robbery charge. Hey, look, I had a toxic relationship. A girl hit me with her car. And you know, I wear everything because I ain't got no choice. You're reading it just like I share with the whole world. Bill says, Joe, Celtics about to make history tonight, but I'm taking the Heat plus 7.5. I would do the same damn thing. I don't think the Celtics are going to blow them out, but I hope the Celtics win because they'll be the first team to come back from 0-3 or down 3 to win the series. So, look, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. That was all I wanted to do was really share my God, we got 565 people up in here. Shout out to y'all, man. Thank you for taking the time. I spilled my guts. I shared with you my entire criminal history. What more can I do? I hope y'all enjoyed this, Bobo. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more for y'all. I got the prison role plays coming back. The Bobo is going to be here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till 8 p.m. It's my bedtime. I got to get ready for a really busy week upcoming, and I want to thank each and every one of y'all for taking the time to rock with me on this thing. And we're here. I'm enjoying this comeback. I'm enjoying doing this Kickin The BoBo with y'all, and it means the world to have you guys kicking it with me. Sorry I wasn't up in the comments so much, but I wanted to share that criminal history with y'all. I thought that's pretty important. And just wondering what DPOR is going to think about all of that. Because one way or another, we're going to be going in front of that board, and I'll be making a video letting you know how all of that went. Folks, thank you for taking the time. I'm going to get back with y'all on Wednesday. And until then, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day. Peace.